for now are joys and concerns, joys and sorrows. I don't have any that have been given to me for birthdays or anniversaries. Please, only the joys and sorrows right now. No announcements. So we got that? Good. Okay.
Our joy is this is Lana Balka's birthday, so happy birthday.
Yay.
She doesn't look a day older, let alone a year. And Shelby Fehrenbacher, a friend of the fellowship, needs a ride to a medical appointment Tuesday morning in Olathe. We aren't able to take her, but if someone can give her a ride, let me know and I'll put you in touch with her. Thank you.
This is selfish, but I'm really proud and I want to tell everybody that on Monday I welcomed in my 15th nibbling. My sister had her third child, so my cup runneth over.
And my father-in-law, Bud Metzentine, who some of you know, died on Wednesday. He was ready. He did not want to outlive David, but he did. And Tony's father, Tommy Green, also died on Wednesday. So we hold them all in our hearts.
On this past Monday, my son and my daughter-in-law celebrated their 25th wedding anniversary, and we had a great party.
I have a few things to share. My grandson-in-law graduated from college and got his music degree, and my daughter-in-law, working diligently for a long time, did get her degree. I forgot in what, but probably No, it's English. Oh, poor thing. Okay. Anyway, in English, and my dad, who I've shared with you, had turned 100 in January. He did come through a case of COVID well, and he's doing well, and his faculties are recovering, and we're having great conversations now, and I'm happy about that.
I neglected to mention that when you come to this microphone, this service is being streamed and recorded for later use if people aren't able to be here. So please be mindful of that when you do come to the microphone, and it would be helpful if you'd say your name. Okay, and if there are other announcements, well, yes, we just did that. So we will now take our offering. Carolyn, do you have that back there? We will take, no, I don't think so. Who's taking the offering? Do we have people? And Nancy's will take the offering. And we will sing the following song.
When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see our faces in each other's eyes, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we tell our story from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in our heart is in a holy place. We are blessed with love and amazing grace when our heart is in a holy place. When we share the silence of sacred space and the God of our heart stirs within, and we feel the power of each other's faith, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place.
A reading read by Lou Hoover. Amanda Gorman is the young poet who performed her poem, The Hill We Climb, at Joe Biden's inaugural. You remember her in her beautiful yellow suit and the bright red scarf in her hair. There was a story going about that a book made of The Hill We Climb had been banned in Florida. I'm glad I fact-checked that. It has been banned in one elementary school in Florida. But being banned, even if it's in just one school, is a sort of compliment. And to celebrate that, and because the message of the poem fits well with what we on the 8th Principal team are trying to do, we decided to read the poem today. In the interest of not taking too much time away from our special speaker, I've omitted some passages, but hopefully the sense of the poem is intact. See if you can detect the parts of it that did not play well in Florida. And now, The Hill We Climb, which contains good words for our country and good words for our fellowship today. When day comes, we ask ourselves, where can we find light in this never-ending shade? The loss we carry, a sea we must wade. We braved the belly of the beast. We've learned that quiet isn't always peace, and the norms and notions of what just isn't always justice. And yet the dawn is ours before we knew it. Somehow we do it. Somehow we weathered and witnessed a nation that isn't broken, but simply unfinished. We, the successors of a country and a time where a skinny black girl descended from slaves and raised by a single mother can dream of becoming president only to find herself reciting for one. And yes, we are far from polished, far from pristine, but that doesn't mean we are striving to form a union that is perfect. We are striving to forge our union with purpose, to compose a country committed to all cultures, colors, characters, and conditions of man. And so we lift our gaze not to what stands between us, but what stands before us. We close the divide because we know to put our future first, we must first put our differences aside. We lay down our arms so we can reach out our arms to one another. Scripture tells us to envision that everyone shall sit under their own vine and fig tree, and no one shall make them afraid. If we're to live up to our own time, then victory won't lie in the blade, but in all the bridges we've made. That is the promise to Glade, the hill we climb, if only we dare.
It's because being American is more than a pride we inherit. It's the past we step into and how we repair it. We've seen a force that would shatter our nation rather than share it, would destroy our country if it meant delaying democracy, and this effort very nearly succeeded. But while democracy can be periodically delayed, it can never be permanently defeated. In this truth, in this faith, we trust. For while we have our eyes on the future, history has its eyes on us. If we merge mercy with might and might with right, then love becomes our legacy and change our children's birthright. So let us leave behind a country better than the one we were left. Every breath from my bronze-pounded chest, we will raise this wounded world into a wondrous one. We will rise from the golden hills of the West. We will rise from the windswept Northeast where our forefathers first realized revolution. We will rise from the lake-rimmed cities of the Midwestern states. We will rise from the sun-baked South. We will rebuild, reconcile, and recover. And every known nook of our nation and every corner called our country, our people, diverse and beautiful, will emerge battered and beautiful. When day comes, we step out of the shade, aflame and unafraid. The new dawn blooms as we free it. For there is always light, if only we're brave enough to see it. If only we're brave enough to be it.
Thank you, Lou. Tokeya and I are both taking leaps of faith today. I do not really know him, and he does not know me, or what I have gotten him into today. But I think we each took this risk for similar reasons, which was something about how we met. At least it was for me. Last fall, I dropped into a pop-up shop in Hoyt, near where I live, where the vendors were all Native artists. At TK's table, I lingered, enthralled by his work. One in particular caught my eye. You will see it later in his slides. It was on a greeting card, the explanation of the work that he puts in or behind every one of his. Touched my grieving heart. When I handed him the card and a few items to pay for, he noticed my moist eyes. My husband died recently, I explained. He told me of his recent grief and its expression in the artwork. Then he reached behind his table and pulled out the full print and handed it to me. This is for you. I left the shop in tears and with a very full heart. TK is a member of the Oglala, Lakota, and Haliwa-Saponi tribes. He was born in Manhattan, New York City, and has lived in various places throughout his childhood, now living in Lawrence. He graduated from Haskell Indian Nations University with a liberal arts degree focusing on fine art. He also studied psychology and theater art at Fort Lewis College in Durango, Colorado. Welcome, Tokeya.
Hello, everybody. I'm not exactly sure how I was going to start this, but I guess I'll start it off with a warning. I curse like a sailor. So I'm just gonna let you know, like, if something slips through, it's not to be disrespectful. It's just how I talk. I curse like I need to breathe. So yeah.
Damn, that's
cool. Yeah, as Janine had explained, we met at a pop-up market in Hoyt, Kansas, and yeah, she met me where I was vending my art, and that's I started this journey of like having meaning behind my art. I want to say about 6.5 years ago, just a little bit before my daughter, my firstborn, was born. I was going to school, and I just wasn't happy. I was living and studying a lifestyle that I didn't internally care for. I have always not been very well with school. Like I excelled, but it just didn't ever sit right with me. I always liked to work. When my wife was pregnant with our daughter, we then needed kind of like we needed childcare, and so like I was like, oh, I'll do it. Like, I was like, I don't like school anyways, so And then the question came up on everybody's mind. It's like, well, TK, you're almost done. Like, are you just gonna give away your schooling? Like, you only have one semester. And I was like, yeah, like I don't care. And my main drive was because I was so happy to be a dad. And, I wanted to be able to share these moments with like my kids and all these other things, just like how my dad shared moments with me. And so, a lot of my arts come from like stories that I was told by my elders. And where is the lady that you were talking about the story about the ancestors, and how the children are also teachers to us as adults. I severely believe in that, because I would not have become the kind of man that I am now had it not been for the touch of the love of my daughter and my son. And all of the things that I have learned from to incorporate into my art was given to me by people who are much older than me. And I was like, the stories that I share, these stories, generations and generations of people that I have not ever met, but one day will. If you want to go ahead and hit the first slide. So this is a look into some of my art. This first one talks about it's titled The Modern Indian, is from like a series that I had created, and the specific title is called Young Warriors. This is basically kind of a look into my lifestyle as like a young kid. Oftentimes my friends and I, we would hop on our bikes and ride around, and we would pretend like we're riding motorcycles or spaceships, but also like riding horses. And we were always like I also remember this one time where we went to a powwow, and like I bought like this little bows and arrows with the suction cup on it, and I remember riding around on my bike and like daring myself to let go of the handlebars and just kind of and just firing off at like my friends and my brother. And like but the gist behind this drawing is talking about the things that we're going to teach our kids, how we're going to send them off. And it's kind of like riding a bike. At first you have the training wheels, and that's kind of where you're at with your children, and you're kind of helping them along the way, and you're teaching them these things, like giving them a pillar to stand on whenever they get ready to kick the training wheels off and start riding on their own. And eventually they'll be able to start riding without having their hands on the handlebars. And, these are the things that we teach our kids to go forth into the world. And so I believe that if we teach like our children how to, I believe that what we teach our children today is something that they will often carry on for tomorrow, and then the next year, and so on and so forth. Next slide. We're getting there. This one is another one of just like, this one